Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to episode 151 of the Take One podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones, and today we have a good amount of stuff to talk about. So, we're going to be getting into, there is the new synopsis for the Suicide Squad movie coming out this year, as well as Ryan Coogler gets put in charge of developing a new series for Disney Plus that revolves around the kingdom of Wakanda, as well as I'm going to be giving a spoiler kind of filled review of the episode 4 of WandaVision, as well as another review of a movie called Horizon Line, and my thoughts of what to expect from the new movie that's coming out on Netflix this Friday called Malcolm and Maurice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the first thing, which is about the Suicide Squad that is coming out this year. So if you guys remember, back in 2016 it was a movie called Suicide Squad by David Ayer, and it had Will Smith up in there, Margot Robbie, and everything else. I personally didn't like the film. I thought it was just trash. I thought it was horrible. Throw the whole film away. So when James Gunn came on board after the whole thing with Disney and firing him because of the tweets and everything else, Warner Brothers literally reached their hand in like, oh, you want to do this for us? Because they seen what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they know that he more than likely can do wonders with the property of Suicide Squad. So he was brought on board, got busy, got to work, and basically just brought together what looks like a spectacle from what we've seen last year with Fandom, or DC's Fandom and everything else. And we got the Suicide Squad, not just Suicide Squad, but the Suicide Squad. And of course, it was kind of like a thing of whether or not it was going to be a part 2 or reboot or whatever. So he's saying that it's unrelated to the David Ayer's Suicide Squad. I guess it kind of goes as a reboot or whatever the case. But with all that aside, the new synopsis came out about the movie, and we basically haven't really been given really too much about the film. What is it about and all that. And so we got a glimpse into what the movie is possibly about. And I'm going to do it here. I'm going to cut away and everything else. And then when I come back, I'm going to give you my thoughts. But yeah. And the synopsis goes as follows. Welcome to Hell, aka Bell Rev, the prison with the highest mortality rate in the US of A, where the worst supervillains are kept and where they would do anything to get out. Even join the super secret, super shady Task Force X. Today's do or die assignment: assemble a collection of cons, including Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Captain Boomerang, Ratcatcher 2, Savant King Shark, Blackguard, Javelin, and everyone's favorite psycho, Harley Quinn. Then arm them heavily and drop them literally in a remote enemy-infused island or Corto Maltese. Trekking through a jungle teeming with militant adversaries and guerrilla forces at every turn, the squad is on a search and destroy mission with only Colonel Rick Flag on the grounds to make them behave, and Amanda Waller's government techies in their ears, tracking at every moment. And as always, one wrong move and they're dead, whether at the hands of their opponents, a teammate, or Waller herself. If anyone's laying down bets, the smart money is against them. All of them. And so that's it. And one thing that we got from it was that there was really no clear-cut idea of what the exact mission is. I mean, it just gives out a kind of like vague, description of, okay, we already know that they're formed together, they're cons, and Amanda Waller puts them together and everything else. And it's like, we already know that. We got that from the first film. What is this mission about? Because it has a colorful, big-ass cast of like just celebrities, characters, and everything else, but we don't know what they're on a mission to. And I feel like more than likely, once we get the first trailer, or it gets closer to the time, because it's supposed to be coming out, believe later, sometime later on this year. I don't have the date written down, but it's coming out in the summer. And more than likely, as it gets closer, we're going to find out what this movie is all about, what the exact mission is. the villain and everything else and all that stuff. I honestly can't wait. I am excited for this film only because really it looks like it's gonna be a great film. It looks like it's gonna be a really good film. It looks like James Gunn really did put his magic and he just worked everything together how it more than likely should have been the first time around. And I hope it is. I hope that it is a fantastic movie because, like I said, the first film I just completely thought it was trash, complete and utter trash. It had some small redeeming qualities of it, but overall, I just really thought that it, it's not worth your time watching if you haven't seen it. So, but yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to it. Hopefully, it is really good. The synopsis seems a bit intriguing, but it doesn't get me a little bit more excited about it because it doesn't really say anything. But in any case, let's go ahead and move on to the next subject. And the next one is Ryan Coogler develops a Wakanda series for Disney Plus. Now, Ryan Coogler, if you guys don't know, he is the writer director of Fruitvale Station, the first Creed movie, and of course Black Panther and the sequel to Black Panther that's coming out next year and everything else. So he has a good amount of movies under his belt that are good. And I guess you could say it's not a coincidence that Michael B. Jordan is in every single one of those films. Maybe except, Black Panther 2, but we don't have too many details about that. He could show up as a callback or something. I don't know, whatever. But in any case, he is the director and writer of those movies. And so Disney has put a deal together with him and his production company, Proximity Media, for a 5-year exclusive TV deal to develop a series for, Disney Plus revolving around Wakanda. And also what makes this deal cool is that it doesn't just stop at the MCU and Wakanda and everything else, that it expands onto other divisions. Like if he want to do something for Star Wars or Pixar or something like that, him and his production company can do that. And I find that that's really cool. But not even just to get too much into that, let's get into just the Wakanda series. It's a drama series revolving around Wakanda. Not necessarily more than likely dealing with Black Panther, but just dealing with the inner workings of Wakanda. Maybe not even just with the royal family, just with other things that's happening. And I'm really intrigued by it. I'm not about to say I'm excited. It sounds like a great idea, because we could say that about Gotham or something like that. Something what may seem like a great idea may end up being just a crappy idea once it's executed, unless it's executed in the proper way. But I mean, an idea could sound good right off the bat, but further developing it may end up being something totally different. This kind of was a miss. But let me move this over here because I think this is going to be making a lot of noise. But I mean, it is a bit intriguing. The one thing that for me that makes it super intriguing is the fact that he can have control in other, come up with other ideas for movies or shows or whatever in the other divisions. Like I said, I mean, it would be real cool to see a Star Wars, not even a, collection the sagas and, the trilogies were, but just maybe a standalone movie produced or even directed by Ryan Coogler, or maybe even a Pixar movie written, directed, by Ryan Coogler, maybe even produced. I feel like that would be a really good thing for him because he doesn't have that many movies under his belt. But at the same time, all the movies that he has done have been getting good praise. And I haven't seen Fruitvale Station, but I honestly hear that it is a really good movie. So when you have a director that is literally on the rise, and this guy is literally my age, he's early 30s, so he's still a young guy, and to get this privilege to develop for Disney, it's crazy. Like, you know, he's going to be bringing in that money. You know, he's going to be making money. He's going to be doing good. Hopefully, like, his future projects are really fantastic. Now, as far as the Wakanda show, more than likely he's not going to direct. If he does, it may be like an episode or something, but more than likely he's just going to, you know, construct it. Be like a Kevin Feige, where he's behind the scenes constructing, like, this is where this is gonna go. That's that piece gonna go there. He's more than likely just gonna play the producer role. Maybe even just coming up with the story. Maybe, you know, just putting that together. Maybe even doing some writing. But overall, I think he's gonna really just kind of be like the manager. Sit back, come up with the idea, and just make sure that everything is being executed the way that it needs to be executed. And it's like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because he comes off like he's a very capable director, like he's a very capable person, like he knows what he's doing. And I really put trust in Kevin Feige. If Kevin Feige puts somebody in place in a position to where they can do something, you know, expand their talents, you know, show their skill as a story writer, you know, storyteller, as a director, producer, whatever, more than likely you're going to have faith in him, because Kevin Feige, to this point, showed that he is very capable in picking the people that he needs to put in these places to make things happen. And I feel like Ryan Coogler is one of those people that can make things happen and make things good. So I am definitely looking forward to what he has in store with this Wakanda series. And that's just on top of the many things that they're doing for the MCU, on top of the WandaVision that's out right now, the Falcon and Winter Soldier that's coming out not too long from now, Loki, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and, you know, just all the shows that they're going to be doing and everything. So I'm very excited to see what, you know, Ryan Coogler has to bring to the table when it comes to the future of just Disney Plus. And it seems like they're going full throttle with it after the announcement last year of everything that they're going to be doing with the streaming service. So I'm excited for it. Very excited. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into the next thing, which is my spoiler review for WandaVision episode 4. So this episode honestly is just an explainer episode for how things came to be within the episodes prior. Right off the bat, one thing that I really did love about it, I kind of got confused. I'm not even gonna lie, I got kind of confused about it, and then it dawned on me, like, that's what's happening. So it starts off with people coming back after the snap. After the Hulk and Endgame snapped in and brought everybody back, it shows how it happened. And I know I was thinking about it before, of like, I want to know, how did it look when everybody came back? Did they just magically appear? Or, you know, like, how did it happen? And it shows that they literally started materializing, like how they dusted away. Literally, like, they came back that same way. All the dust formulating back into a hand and face and everything else. And this was on top of everybody else. You know, it showed Monica Rambeau in the hospital bed right next to where her mom was before. And she goes out into the hospital, you know, the hallway and all that stuff. And she sees a lot of people, all this chaos. And that's when she finds out that, yeah, she's been gone. Like, something happened and she don't even know why. And it also tells us that her mother, Maria Rambeau, started the organization, not SHIELD, but SWORD, that Monica is a part of, which is actually pretty good to know. I want to know further more about, like, how all this started. And hopefully they tell us within the episodes, you know, a little bit more about that. But I have a feeling that that's not really a priority when it comes to WandaVision. But it does pique my interest. And it also shows that anybody outside of the town of Westview don't have any memory of anybody or anything that's inside the town. All they know is Eastview. You know, everything outside of it, just, they don't know it. And more than likely that's just her, Wanda's power at work. That way people won't be sitting here questioning, like, what's beyond there? Let's go over there and everything else. I'm sorry, I gotta keep going over here because my computer keeps blacking out, so I gotta make sure that everything is recording and looking good. But in any case, and it shows how Monica, how the drones got into the town, and why and the question that comes into why did it change when he came inside the town, as well as the guy in the bee suit, how he got in the town and what's with the bee suit and everything else, and also just the voice in the radio in episode 2, who that actually was, and we find out that that is Jimmy Cho, which is the played by Randall Park, the detective up in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He reprises his character in this show, and what's crazy is that if you see Ant-Man and the Wasp, you'll see that he was trying to learn a trick that Scott Lang had did, and it shows that he learned how to do the trick or whatever upon meeting him. I didn't catch it, but I see that from like the videos and other discussions. I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. I just love the little inside, little Easter eggs, little thing that they put up in these shows, and it's like literally, if you blink, you will miss certain things, and I kind of like how they did that, as well as Kat Dennings' character Darcy makes a she reprises her role up in this show, and it shows that at the end of episode 1, where you see the person put down the pen with the notebook, it shows that she is the person. So really just this episode is how she got involved with trying to figure out what's going on, and how he got involved in what's going on. And they just kind of like, I guess you could say they're like a team that works together when it comes to trying to figure everything out, and they're putting together the cast of just everybody that's stuck inside of the globe or the dome or whatever, and it's trying to show like they're trying to figure out who the actual people are and everything else, and they're just trying to figure out everything about it, and it shows the full scene after episode 3 when Monica gets basically expelled, kicked out of Westview. It shows exactly what happened, how she kicked her out, and like I said, it's just really just a filler episode that really just tells everything, like this is why that happened, this is why this is and everything else. And for a second, it does show what Vision actually looks like, so it kind of puts it in perspective, like, is he really alive? Is it just because he's up in here, he's able to move around, but once the dome gets, undone, is he just gonna fall down and just be like, yeah, he was? So it asks a lot of questions, but it gives a lot of answers in the show at the same time. I mean, of course, we still got some episodes going, but this is actually a pretty good episode. I actually liked it. Like I said, it is a filler episode. It is a give all, like, these are the reasons why. It gets you kind of caught up behind kind of basically everything that's happening in the episodes prior and everything else. So there's still stuff that they're trying to figure out with Sword and everything, and I really did like it. I really did. And those are my thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and jump right into the next thing, which is my thoughts on Malcolm and Marie. Now, this isn't a review. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm more than likely going to try to do the review this weekend, but if not, I'm going to do it next week on the next podcast or whatever, but I'm going to let you guys know. But my thoughts is just coming from what to expect from this movie. Now, first hearing about this movie last year, about this was shot during the pandemic, during the shutdown and everything else. And it's basically created by the director and writer, the creator of the show Euphoria, that actually Zendaya is actually a part of. She's the main character, and it's starring John David Washington, who is Denzel Washington's son, and he's from the movies Black Klansman and the latest movie last year that came out, Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie. And it looks like it's a good ass movie. Like, it looks really good. It wasn't in my top 10 most anticipated of this year, but it was a movie as far as that I was looking forward to. It looks very interesting. just the whole thing that goes behind it with, like I said, being shot during shutdown, and it's literally only starring them two people, and it's just about a couple. John David Washington, he plays a character who's a director. After winning the award for his movie, he forgets to thank his girlfriend, his wife, or whatever, played by Zendaya, and when they get home, they go through it because of that. So it's just kind of like, peeling back layers of their relationship, good and bad, blah blah blah. And from what I'm hearing, it's like it's not favorable reviews. Rotten Tomatoes score gives it a 59%. Metacritic score is a 58%, and the IMDb score is 6 out of 10. Like, those are really confident numbers when you're really excited and you're really looking forward to seeing a movie. But no doubt, still am looking forward to seeing the movie, because who knows, I may end up watching it and end up loving it. I am expecting to at least like the movie. Seeing like the reviews that I've read and just looking at the scores and everything, it kind of got me thinking like, oh man, I like it. And I kind of hate going into a movie like that, because I'm looking at like, what did they hate about it? Sometimes it's kind of good, because I'm sitting here thinking like, even at the end of the movie, like, what did they hate about it? Like, I really did like this movie. But I am looking forward to it. It seems like it's really it has to be character driven, because with the limitations that they're working with, they can't, from what I've read in the reviews, is that they can't, like, certain things that they say in there in the conversations, they can't do the whole, show clips of this and that happening, that it's all just character driven. Like, you have to take what they say at face value. You have to just put it in your mind of whatever they're talking about. So literally, they're confined within this house, and the whole movie takes place within one night. So I'm very curious just to see how it's done. Because with me being an aspiring director, film writer, and stuff like that, storyteller, however you want to put it, it kind of interests me as to, when a person is limited to just the bare minimum things, what type of stuff can you create? What type of greatness can you create from that? And this, honestly, to me, I'm looking at it from a fan standpoint, because it looks like it's going to be good, but also from just, like I say, a future filmmaker, of just, it can inspire me. Like, okay, so I can do this with that, and with just a shoestring, I can make a great film. So I mean, I'm looking for greatness out of this movie. I'm not, expecting the world. I'm not expecting it to blow my socks off. But at the same time, I am definitely looking forward to checking this movie out. And hopefully it gives me some satisfaction, some fulfillment when it comes to it. And yeah, I mean, that's really about everything I got to say for it. But let's go ahead and move to the next thing, which is a review of this movie. This new movie that came out called Horizon Line. It's on VOD right now. And this will end off the podcast. So it's just about two people who are kind of like together, not together, or whatever. They're on their way to a wedding, taking a private plane, when the pilot dies. Now they're stuck on the plane in the air, trying to find a way how to land on land, how to land a plane with no land there in sight, as well as they have trauma along the way with gas leakage and everything else, and they're just literally trying to figure out a way to survive this traumatic experience. Now, the one thing that I love about this movie is that if you haven't seen my other reviews of scary movies, because this is more than likely where this is coming into play, is that I hate it when a character puts themselves in a position and just does something stupid to push the story along. I love stories where a person is thrust into a situation to where they have to try and get out of it. Like, it's not of any fault of their own. They're just thrown into here and they have to try and get out of it. I loved it. It's a fucked up situation, but I literally love that about the movie, and it's just crazy. But the actors in the movie did really good. You got Allison Williams who plays Sarah, as well as Alexander Damon who plays Jackson, and just their chemistry is actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. Their acting skills is actually pretty good. They sell their roles really well. I enjoyed it. The film utilizes the tension in the situation really, really good. And the effects and the CG in this movie, it is a low budgeted film. You can tell the movie primarily takes place within the plane. So literally you can do that on the set and you can tell there's a green screen and everything else. But it is used in the best way that they could use it for a low budgeted movie that this film is obviously working with. And I really did like it. It was no point in the movie where I'm looking at the effects or anything like this and I'm like, that looks so. It takes me out the movie. You can tell that they wasn't working with the biggest budget, but it literally worked. Like the way that they did it and everything else, the green screen and everything, it was used really good. Like you would believe that they had a little bit more of a bigger budget, but it actually came out pretty damn good. And the things that they have to do to survive are just crazy as hell while in the air, like having to climb outside the plane to complete tasks. And obviously it would give anybody sweaty palms, basically have that sweaty palms moment. And I just like literally when you're watching it you're gonna have sweaty palms. I'm just telling you that you really are, because it just has those moments where it's like you're just like, oh, is he gonna do it? Oh no, you kind of put yourself in that type of position. And but when it comes down to it, this film puts you in the mind frame of what would you do in this situation? Would you do the crazy shit that they did? Like how far would you go to make sure that the survival, to ensure that your survival is at the highest percentage that it can be when it's all said and done? So basically, just at the end of the day, this movie is a well done thrill ride from just the moment it starts. Now, it does have a slow beginning. Certain things aren't as interesting as it should be. I did mention that they did have good chemistry, but it's like kind of slow into like literally the pilot dies. That's when everything kicks off. But I mean that's kind of bad to say, but literally that's when everything kicks off. But I'm not even going. I'm really not even going to front on it. You kind of have to suspend disbelief on some of the stuff that they do, because you kind of know that more than likely some of the stuff that they do for their survival on the plane or whatever, that in a real life scenario it more than likely would not work out in their favor. But once you do that, uh, it's actually a pretty decent ass film. So right now it's on VOD. That's what I watched it on. I watched it on Google. I went to the Google Play Store and rented it or whatnot. You more than likely can get it on Fandango now or any other streaming service that you can rent movies off of. I recommend that you guys check it out. I really did enjoy the film. I'm pretty sure that you more than likely would enjoy the film. And yeah, with that said, that ends that review and that ends the podcast. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. This episode was a shorter episode than the last episode, but I mean that's good. It's really good. Y'all don't have to take too much time out your day, but I do like that you guys took the time out your day to go ahead and check out this video. If you like what you've seen or heard, because I'm gonna have audio editions of this and everything else, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, hit that like button, and hit that like button hit that bell. That way you'll be notified for anything and everything that gets loaded onto my channel. And yeah, leave a comment if you like what you heard and everything else. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Look forward to more stuff that's coming out on my channel, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So peace out, be safe.